Good morning. I just wanted to tell you where I'm at with the research that I'm doing on these different stories, if you like to call it. There's three really at the moment. There's the gentleman who we know as some mother's son, or Mr. Tregantle, who I started researching just before Christmas. He's the gentleman that was found in a field in Tregantle on the cliffs there, just west of Plymouth in 1982. The police and CID couldn't work out who he was, and he was buried in Horston Cemetery in Torpoint excuse me, in 1983. I did a talk a couple of months ago locally in Torpoint about him. It was great. About 22 people turned up, and his story continues. Yesterday I got a message from somebody through the Reddit website, which told me about the Great Freeze, which I'd never heard about. Between roughly February the 18th to February the 20th in 1978, there was a huge blizzard over Devon and Cornwall, the biggest blizzard for over 100 years. Now, you know, of course this is speculative, but we were thinking that this gentleman may well have died in 1978, simply because he had a newspaper with him, some newspaper with the date 1978 on it, which means he couldn't have died before that time. Again, it's speculative, but you know, it could well be that he was out walking or hitchhiking from a job or to a job around that time, laid down for rest, got caught in the snow, and succumbed to the cold. I mean, it is possible. So I'm adding that to the story. The second bunch of stories is I then went on to look at the people who are unidentified in the Devon and Cornwall area, which are listed on the UK Missing Persons Unit site. There's 15 of them, and my intention now is to do another talk about the 15 plus some mother's son, so it's 15 plus one, and I've got a talk lined up for next year, February the 9th. Oh, I wrote it down somewhere. February the 9th, 2026, at the Duke of Cornwall Hotel, Plymouth, at 11 AM. That's run by the University of the Third Age. It could be good, although it's a long way away, actually, you know, nearly a year. It gives me a lot of time to get these stories out, and I don't have to rush, and it feels, you know, near a year, it feels fine. But yeah, there's 15 people on the list who have been recorded as being unidentified. It dates back to 1968, and the most recent is 2020. Of the 15 people, 14 are males, 1 is female. 2 are of Asian character, the other 13 white European. 2 of these people have a link to France, as in their clothes have French name tags on them. They are wearing, one of the chaps is wearing a fisherman's sort of outfit with French wording on it. The other one is seemingly potentially a sailor, again with the French name tags and everything. Doesn't mean to say they are French, but it points to the possibility of it. When I found those 2 French connections, I then looked at the UK site again to see if there was any more French connections of bodies found along the south coast of the UK, and I found another 4. So that's the third project which is going on at the moment, and I'm in France at the moment, is to try and elevate the stories of those 6 people who have connections, possible connections with France and French citizenship. And I met up with a French journalist 2 days ago, and we spent an hour and a half going through all the information, and he's really interested, and he's going to get back to me with more questions and potentially run a story on that. So yeah, we've got the 3 things going on at the same time. The some mother's son, the gentleman who was found in 1982, the 15 unidentified bodies on the UK site listed for Devon and Cornwall, and then the 2 out of that lot joined with another 4 who have a potential connection with France. And I'm in France now and I'm working on that as well. I thought I would just go through these 15 quickly. I have got a post on my website, January the 5th, if you want to read this information, under the post entitled Mystery to Revelation. But of the 15, 13 of them found in the water or on beaches, 2 of them found inland. How do I make this clear, easy and quick? I've got the list here. I wrote this out a couple of months ago. So the bodies were found between 1968 and 2020. Their ages range from between 20, they actually go up to 100 on this person. There's 2 Asian guys. This Asian guy here was found the same day he died on heavy surf at Senon Beach, 24th of September 2020. There's even a photograph of his face. Goodness knows how he's been missed. The other gentleman with a photograph actually is the other Asian guy who was found in a hotel room in Torquay. Sadly, he had taken his own life, but he has a very good photograph of him. He had a very pock-marked face. They reckon it was either severe acne or smallpox. He was found in 1997, between 30 and 35, with a thin build. He was smartly dressed in a jacket and tie. The other gentleman with a photograph of him was the first gentleman found in 1968, believed to have been a fisherman due to the clothing he was wearing. The photograph, again, it makes you think he wasn't in the sea very long, because it's actually quite a good photograph. The other people along here, the 2 people with a French connection, one could well have been a sailor, found in 1969. The other one, he was found by a Russian trawler and brought into Plymouth docks. He had a big stretch bandage round his ribs. They reckon he may well have had some sort of chest injury at some time. The other people, now the other person who was found inland was at Yelverton, Leaden Tor, in 1976. Very detailed, a lot of details of his clothing and what he had on him. He had an Ordnance Survey map, he had some food, he had glasses, a fountain pen, money, wallet. He had the Ordnance Survey map was of Dartmoor, which is where he was found. He had gold cufflinks and smart clothing. Quite a dapper type of gentleman, you would imagine. Out walking, you would think someone would have missed him. You would think so. This gentleman here was found on the Isles of Scilly in 1979. Huge amounts of investigations have gone on to try and work out who this gentleman was. The main bit of evidence he had was a ring which has Giorgio and Katrina 1956 on it. And I know Locate International, who are a charity who do their best to try and identify missing unidentified bodies. They've been for years trying to work out who he is, but they still haven't. The only female on the list was found at Millock Beach, Cornwall, near Bude, to south of Bude. Reckoned that she'd been in the water for 3 to 6 months, perhaps between 25 and 30, thin build, 24th of August 1979. Someone must be missing her, you would think. A gentleman down here, Penzance, he was found in 1997, between 35 and 55 years old. He's lacking an eye, and he had a scar from his forehead to above his nose, possible medical origin. Lacking an eye, found floating in the sea, in the water for up to 7 days. What else can I tell you that this gentleman here found at Marlborough, Devon, 1999. He had had recent emergency treatment on his tooth. Again, there's information about his clothing, but I think that gives you an idea of the 15 people between 1968 and 2020 unidentified, found within the Devon and Cornwall area, listed on the UK Missing Persons Unit site, and the story will continue. And if you want to read it in more detail, like I said, it's on my post Mystery to Revelation, and which I posted on January the 5th. But I wanted to get this video done, so thanks for listening, and I hope you find it useful, and there'll be more coming, because I've got another 8, 9, 10, 11 months to investigate, research and get the stories out there before I do the talk. Thanks for listening.